Morgan. Thank you for taking the time to be here with us today and conducting this interview.
Sure. Hi.
To begin with, what is your most vivid childhood memory?
So I remember waking up in the back of a car, and I must have been maybe 3, and I looked out the window and I saw my parents running in a field. I believe we had lost the wheel, and so they were running after the wheel of the car. This is that's something that I remember. Yeah, that's probably one of the most vivid ones. Yeah.
Could you tell me where you are from and how does that affect your photography practice?
My father is German, my mother is Vietnamese, and I was born and brought up in Paris. I'm not sure it affects what I do. It might, but I'm not 100% sure. I started. My father is a rather famous photographer, so I tried growing up. I tried the whole time not to be one. I failed miserably, of course, but I studied law and stuff. I started doing photography much later. I was living in Hong Kong at the time. And a friend of mine, I took a picture at his birthday, and I showed him the picture, and he said, "You should forget about your father. This is what you should be doing." So where I was born actually doesn't seem to have much influence on my practice.
When was your first aesthetic awakening?
Oh, I don't know. As a child, my mother used to take me to the movies all the time. So I think she took me to see Buster Keaton when I was maybe 3 or 4. Gone with the Wind, I must have been 4. I remember being in a movie theater when I was about maybe 5 or 6, and the movie was Cleopatra. So my mother took me to see movies a lot.
How did you go from Hong Kong into photography and end up in Vietnam?
So I lived in Hong Kong for 15 years. And then, after a while, I wanted a change of scenery. I always traveled quite a lot, and so I made an attempt to move to Japan. And then I met someone in a nightclub in Hong Kong, and she told me Elle magazine had opened in Ho Chi Minh City, and they were looking for photographers with at least some regional experience. So I came down here, and I don't think I met anyone from Elle, but I ended up doing work for almost all the other magazines in Vietnam, all the other fashion magazines, and I never worked for Elle. And now they closed, so it will not happen. But so basically, luck. Right.
What made you decide to stay in
It is part of my roots. But I may not have come here on purpose, but then when I did come here, I really like this country. I like the people. I like it's beautiful, and it's possible to work here. It's not that difficult to get along with Vietnamese people. So.
Could you describe your most favorite part of your practice, the photography practice?
It's a passion. I really like to take pictures, to document scenes, to capture the light. It's also hard work, but you're asking about the favorite part. It is something that I need to do. I actually need to go out and take pictures all the time. The technology is now improving a lot all the time. So in the past few years, I've actually taken a lot of pictures with my phone because it's actually practical and the quality is quite good. So yes, it's something that I get up in the morning and I have to do.
What is your least favorite part of the process, of the practice?
Clients. Clients, and of course the enormous amount of time you spend in front of a computer later to pick and choose and resize and get rid of dust. Yeah.
What have been some of the difficulties you faced during your career, and how do you overcome them?
Well, to make a living, of course, I do commercial photography. Every time there's a crisis, the first budgets that go are communications and therefore images and photography. So, the Asian crisis, the COVID, the make clients spend less money. And so the way to overcome them is to be patient and to do your own stuff. And then eat rice.
Outside photography, what are some of the areas that influence your thinking and practice in photography?
Everything. I look at all visual arts. I read whatever I can. Everything. I don't think you can separate. Photography is the way I express myself, but I'm influenced by philosophy, poetry, literature, even news. So, yeah. Other photographers, of course.
What are some of the central themes in your photography?
People. So for a long time I took pictures in black and white because taking out the color allows to focus on people's expressions, movement, and then when I did incorporate color, very often it was black and one color, so blue, green, brown, multiple colors blurs the story or for me. So the central theme, I think, possibly duotone, right? Black and one color, or black and white. I have tried to mix colors. It sometimes works, as long as it's part of the story in said image. Multiple color is fine as long as it doesn't distract too much from the action or the expression. If there's too many colors and it's too strong, maybe you don't actually see what the interaction or the expression or the action is.
Let's go deeper into the works in Vietnam that will be exhibited for the show. Specifically, Golden Hour on Hoa Ta, Riding with the Family, and the Thin Green Line. Could you provide some context behind the making of these 3 photographs?
So, okay. Riding with the Family is one of the early pictures. I think I took this picture in 93 or something. It's a black and white picture, and it's a family on a Honda Dream in Hanoi. They're driving past. I think it's raining. And it's it's black and white. It was one of my first trips to Vietnam as an adult, and of course, motorbike, a whole family on it. Is very interesting to me. Actually, right now I own a Honda Super Dream, and it's still the tagline is family vehicle. So at the time, and still, I think they stopped making them, but and now people are buying cars. But the motorbike is a family vehicle still now. If you drive by any school today, parents will come and pick up their children, and then 3 or 4 will drive on them. This picture, I think I was standing on a street corner in Hanoi, and I saw them drive past. The father is smoking a cigarette while driving with his whole family. He doesn't have a helmet. Actually, no one has a helmet. This is back in the 90s. That's the background for that image. Hoa Ta, I think, is taken around the same time, maybe 93, 94. Is an old man with a beret on his bicycle, and similar story. It's a slide, and it is brown, gold color and black. The thin green line is a slight play on words. In Vietnamese, blue and green is a similar word. So I've called it the thin green line, but the picture is actually blue. And it is on a ferry between Vung Tau and Can Tho, which is a village south of here. Early in the morning, and it's all blue. The sky is blue, the ocean is blue, and you see the coast in the back, which is green, but this picture is mostly blue. Yeah, so.
For the family writing the picture, the Honda Dream, would you have made it in color with a color slide?
No, because one, it's Hanoi in the winter, so there is no color. The sky is grey. And so color would not have added anything, I think. If the baby is wearing, I don't know, bright red, I don't think it would have added much. In the family on the Honda Dream, what I find interesting is the movement and the composition, the family being all together on this. Right? It's the interaction between them. The father smoking a cigarette, the mother holding the baby. Right? Color wouldn't have added anything. Also, as I said, Hanoi winter, no color. It's grey.
So for the thin green line,
yeah,
would you have made it in black and white?
So yes, right. The picture I had, I could have turned into black and white, but I didn't, because it is mostly one color, and then, I mean, it's one color and a half, I guess. And I think there's a little lighthouse which is white and red. It's quite small. But no, I did not change it to black and white, because I don't think there really is a point. I'm not really photographing the sky and the ocean. I'm photographing the color in that picture. So actually similar to the Hote one. I'm also photographing the color.
How do you think they see photography nowadays compared to the past, with the advance of technology?
All right. So for me, photography is still being able to capture a moment. It is not necessarily building an image with pixels. I don't use Photoshop well, to be honest, and I don't manipulate the image too much. I'll get rid of dust, but I actually try and not paint with pixels. I try and capture an instant. Technology has allows to basically just make an image and put whatever you want, which is not what I do. I have tried to make images. There was a period where I took pictures of a model in a set and placed her in different locations. So the same girl 4 times or 5 times on a bench in a room, or so basically her having tea with herself, for example, or which is interesting, and it looks like a picture. So I took several pictures and then blended them together. It still is photography, and actually Gucci this year in their fashion show in Milan, I think, showed they used twins and doppelgangers. They used 65 pairs of twins and people who look alike, dressed them the same, and had them walk down the catwalk together. And so it's not fake, it's real, and these people are dressed and made up the same and look identical. Which I thought was very interesting and amusing. Doing that in photography, I tried that process, but I multiplied them by 2, 4, or 6. I think I have one image with 6 times the same girl, dressed the same or dressed differently, and then when you look at it, you're not sure if it's the same girl or not. So that's, to me, that's a little beyond photography. That's image making. So to go back to your initial question of inspiration, fashion also inspires me.
How does fashion inspire you specifically?
Fashion has an enormous influence on the way we dress, everyone. The ladies wearing pajamas in the markets actually follow a fashion trend. The pajamas are not the same now than they were 5 years ago, or they're also going to be different in next year, whether it's color or shape, or so. What is happening on catwalks in New York or Paris will have an influence on how market ladies dress next year in Bintan market. So by looking at what fashion is doing, you can actually see how it affects the way people live. And so yes, that does inspire me.
What do you want to say to the audience who will be coming to look at the photographs at the exhibition?
Yeah. Well, I've seen some of the pictures that are being displayed at this exhibition, and it is showing the beauty of Vietnam, its landscapes and its people. I think as an audience, you should travel around in Vietnam and go and take pictures yourself, because it's really nice. Or buy some of the stuff that we're showing.